Hello everybody, welcome back. I know it's been a little while since I uploaded a video, but I've been just crazy busy with work and haven't had the chance to do it. But today I wanted to record, it's a bit of a different deck profile. Today I'm recording a Highlander format deck profile. My locals held a Highlander format tournament just the other day, and we actually I ended up going undefeated with my deck list. Which was awesome because I did kind of put a lot of thought into what I wanted to do. The whole point of this deck is to do one thing and do one thing really well, and that is actually just to summon H.U.L.K Firebrax. Now, it sounds super degenerate, I know, but H.U.L.K into Jet Synchron is Dagda plus, which it sets up Scythe into Baron on your opponent's turn. And then in a format where all the hand traps are at 1, obviously combo is the way to go. You're only really worrying about one Nib, one Imperm, one Ash, Veiler, etc. So you kind of have a lot more opportunity to combo. So I'm kind of playing a mishmash of engines that facilitate summoning H.U.L.K Firebrax. Obviously Chaos Ruler as well is a hell of a card in this kind of format as well, but we definitely make that a lot. But the name of the game was H.U.L.K for my specific deck list. So I'll get into the deck list. The thing I really enjoyed about the Highlander format was that we were specifically, the rule set we were playing with was that the deck had to be 60 cards. So this will be a 60 card list, obviously 60 one-ofs with an extra deck and a side deck, of course, all with still one-ofs. And I just like all of the different interactions that come up. So you find yourself doing things in games that you would never be doing in, you know, a regular game. Which is crazy because you're kind of always working with different cards to an extent. So I've put this into kind of engines because I'm playing a whole bunch of different engines. Just for the standalone kind of cards, Orbital Highlander, Veritas Snow. These two cards are obviously insane. We access Snow quite easily after using through H.U.L.K Firebrax because we are playing the Rose Dragon engine, so that gets into Shooting Riser, which sends Snow. So often we are ending with Snow, but obviously it depends on your hand. It's not as consistent to get Snow. Highlander is just that, they're all Saki one-offs really in a Highlander format, but when you see it, it feels really great. Of course, we are playing Scythe, and I was playing Plague Spur Zombie. Just as an alternate card to summon off H.U.L.K, this does not do the same thing that Jet Synchron does in terms of it's a monster that can be milled if it gets milled. You can summon it off H.U.L.K. When you summon it off H.U.L.K, obviously you can recur it, but in and of itself, it doesn't do what Jet Synchron does. I'm not playing Almirage. It would do the same as Jet Synchron if I chose to play Almirage, but I'm just kind of playing it as a one-off that is an extender. It's a tuner, which is, again, what we're trying to do. The next portion of the deck is the dragon side of things. So if you were to equate this into kind of a current format deck, it's kind of like a Dragon Link Punk deck. Obviously the Punk cards are great, and I was playing as many Punk cards as physically able to. So for the dragons, we're playing Seifert because Seifert and Black Metal specifically, they're both full combo into H.U.L.K because you obviously get access to Absorata through Ravine, through Romulus, and that gets you into the combo. So with the Black Metal, we're playing the Red MD. For Rockets, we're playing a Tracer, a Recharger, an Absorata, and it's playing a Deshudo. Again, just an extended tuner that can be accessed. It goes into Shooting Riser really easily. To go with all of this, one Quick Launch, one Boot Sector Launch, one Dragon Ravine, one Dragon Shrine, and one Foolish Burial. So Dragon Shrine, and the last card was 1-for-1 in the Dragon side of things. So the 1-for-1 just gives us extra access into Black Metal, also gives us access into Jet Synchron. Yep, and then obviously the dragons, they're all pretty self-explanatory. They've been in the meta for a long time, and they do what they do really well. And again, in a format where hand traps are really scarce, we were able to kind of do everything unhindered most of the time. Red Rose, Rox Rose, and Basil Roshu is kind of the last of the dragons, I should say. So you don't always summon Red Rose off H.U.L.K, depending on your hand. So if you obviously have access to that level 4 extender, that's when Red Rose Dragon gets summoned off H.U.L.K because you can use the level 4 extender plus the Red Rose to go into Shooting Riser, and then you still get the same kind of end board, but you've got Snow in rotation now as well. So it was amazing. This was a late inclusion to the deck. I originally hadn't thought of using it, but once I kind of tunneled more onto Summon Hulk win game, Red Rose Dragon was just a really easy inclusion. For the punks, playing with the 1 Foxy Tune, 1 Ogre Dance, 1 Deonote, 1 Z Armin, 1 E-Telly, and a card that I don't know if many of you would know about it, is Dark Spirit's Mastery. It's not a card you would play typically in a punk deck, but it's more copies of Ogre Dance. So this card searches a level 8 Fiend, which Ogre Dance is. So in this kind of environment where we had to play 60 cards, where all the cards were at 1, this just gave me 1 extra copy of the full punk engine. So in the 60 card deck, we were playing 5 copies of the full punk engine, of the combo for punk, which was good. And yeah, it did well. It activated it once to my opponent's surprise, and it, you know, obviously played out really well. This next engine was not originally in the deck, and it wasn't in the deck. It wasn't in the list when that I took to the event. I gave the Lightsworn cards, I think, a lot more credit than maybe they were due in this type of deck. Thinking back on it later, I was not playing a mill cards and like a really graveyard centric deck. Obviously there's a lot of cards that interact with the graveyard, and Chaos Ruler was always good, but it was more about what you could add back off Chaos Ruler rather than, and then fueling the graveyard for Snow. So I played Lightsworns. I played 1 Charge, 1 Raiden, I played 1 Felice, and I honestly can't remember what the 4th card was instead, but this is what I should have played. Should have been Orpheus, Dying Tonia, Lone Fire, and Instant Fusion, because this is just, again, combo for Hulk. Instant Fusion summons the Sylvain or the essence, the level 2 Dark tuner, the vanilla tuner, and that just gives you the Hulk combo again. So this is what I should have played. I opened the Lightsworn cards a couple of times throughout the event, and they were just always the worst cards in my hand. Normal Summon Raiden was never really useful. Charge Milling 3 was not really useful. Felice was the only card. I ended up cutting Wolf because Felice being the tuner was more important, but yeah, they weren't doing, like, I wasn't just trying to fuel the graveyard and hit all these grave effects, which you maybe, if I was building more of a chaos-centric deck with the Thunder Dragons and some Orchest cards, which people definitely were doing, that would have been more useful. But in this specific deck, yeah, it wasn't that good. The Chaos Creator is very quickly becoming one of my favorite cards. It does lots of silly things, which I really like. Obviously the Chaos Dragons, Valkyria, and Chaos Space, these are our main level 4 extenders. We can access these through Safer. We can access them through the Chaos Space. We can add them back off Chaos Ruler, for example. They put in a lot of work, but Chaos Creator is the one that, you know, it always just enables silly things. Just to give a quick example, and this is, again, part of maybe the fun of the Highlander format, I think, as well, was it was one of the games. Turn 1, I Scythe-locked my opponent. Turn 2, in their turn, they did nothing. Going into turn 3, I used Baron to pop a set card, which was also Scythe. So then that kind of prevented me from going for game. But I was able to, I had Chaos Creator in my hand. So I summoned Chaos Creator. I ended up bringing back Hulk and ending my turn there after doing a bit of damage. And then going into my opponent's turn, I was able to Baron tag out for Scythe, which Scythe locked again. And then Hulk tag out for Shooting Riser, because I played Wonder Magician and Shooting Riser. So I had that second target. Shooting Riser dumped Snow. It also reduced Shooting Riser's level by 3. And then I could quick synchro with the Scythe and the Shooting Riser into Chaos Ruler, which essentially meant I could do all of my extra plays on my opponent's turn. But it was just wild being able to reuse Hulk and be able to use still the random levels of the level 5 artifacts with, yeah, it was just really cool, and it all kind of worked out. So Chaos Creator enabled kind of some of that just silly things, but it was great. Jet Synchron, Quick Draw Synchron and Tuning. This is really good in this kind of format. Quick Draw is just a special summonable tuner. You can't use it for synchro summons, but you can use it for Hulk. And again, that's the whole point of the deck. Sometimes you search Jet Synchron if you need to make Hulk, but usually it's just tuning for Quick Draw, and Hulk gets summoned. Hulk summons the Jet. It's playing 3 dangers. Obviously, these are just general extenders. Nessie plus Veiler is Chaos Ruler, which came up. Also Chaos Hunter, which is it's in the hand trap portion of the deck. But again, level 7s plus Veiler, level 7s plus the level 3 tuners. Obviously, that gets you into Baron. So Nessie's level, just the level 7s in general, we're able to do some really cool things. But these are obviously very self-explanatory. So that's 40 cards so far, and I wanted to play, actually that's 41 cards now. Yeah, it should be 41 cards now, and then this should be, yeah, this is the 19 cards. So these are the hand traps I played. I wanted to just have a lot of access, even though not all of these interruptions are ideal interruptions, or they're not necessarily always going to be good interruptions based on the matchup. But I just wanted to have cards that could interrupt my opponent, and I typically opened 1 to 2, occasionally 3+ combo, which was just insane. So obviously just, yeah, these are all just very standard. 1 Ash, 1 Ogre, 1 Bell, 1 Ghost Mourner, Veiler, Nibiru, Chaos Hunter. Chaos Hunter was insane. Lancia, Skullmeister, DD Crow, Droll. I played Gamma Driver. I would have played Delta if I still had my copies, but I did sell them. So, Gamma 1 Driver, playing 1 brick for 1 great card. I don't know if that's worth it or not, but anyway, I counted these in the hand trap portion, but cross out Tactics Called By, and then the last 3 cards were Droplet, Chalice, and Imperm. So that was my 60 cards. The deck was really great. The one time I bricked, my opponent kind of also bricked, so it went really well, but otherwise the deck was super consistent. I did a friendly game against a friend who was playing in the competitive side of things, and we won a game. We only had time for 1 game, but we were able to win, which was great. The Cyplock did its thing, hand traps did their thing. Going into the extra deck, I wanted to focus, obviously I'm focusing on Hulk, but I tried to also focus specifically on Link monsters. So I didn't want to rely too heavily on Xyz monsters, or Synchros definitely did play a part, but Links are generic depending on what you open. I wanted to rely more on Links because you could kind of make them with any monsters, any combination of monsters. So Appaloosa, and I made all of these at different points, so every card was necessary. Appaloosa, Access, Unicorn, IP, Dagda, Hulk, Romulus, Dark. Really funny thing with the Dark, I made a misplay and just for some reason forgot to search off Roxrose Dragon to search Basil Rose Shoot. But then on my opponent's turn, they went through Roxrose Dragon and Red Rose Dragon, and I was able to Dark back their Roxrose and kind of correct my misplay, which was really great. So I searched the Basil Rose Shoot and proceeded to win from there. Striker and Link Haribo, that's essential for Dagda. Then we're playing Baron, we're playing Chaos Ruler, Shooting Riser, TG1 Magician, and for this deck list, this should be the instant fusion target. It was this. I made it once. I made this once when I was playing the Light Swans, not the plants. But it was only for the really tiny chance that my opponent did have the Nibiru. I just went for game with it. It wasn't necessary to go for game on board. I obviously used 2 big monsters to make it. But this can very easily just be the fusion, and that's what it originally was when I had the plants in the deck. So this would just be the instant fusion target. It's not necessary. You don't need the rank 8. Having a rank 8 is great. That's why that was the flex spot when I chose to not play instant fusion. I chose this monster just because it's kind of versatile, and it does stop Nibiru early on if that's necessary. But it just didn't really come up. The side deck, P.U.N.K, just a bunch of kaijus. We're playing 3 kaijus plus Slumber, just for more going second cards. Dark Ruler, Mind Control. Yeah, this is just spell trap removal. No one was really playing a back row base deck. Lots of people were playing trap cards where I was maybe playing more hand traps. But it was just random kind of trap cards. Cosmic Red evenly, and then my going first side was still a solemn package with just one of each. But that was the deck. It was a lot of fun playing Highlander, and I know everyone there was kind of brainstorming other things that could be done at locals. So they were talking about just other kind of formats, like obviously traditional format and things like that. But I had a lot of fun playing the Highlander format. The deck performed really well. It was really fun just playing with 61 ofs and trying to just work out the best. Obviously I decided to just pick one idea and kind of go for that one idea. Next time maybe we'd go for more of a chaos based, mill everything, Orcust, things like that. But otherwise that's going to be it for this one, and I hope you enjoy it.